This is Hokey Pokey Politics, where we believe politics shouldn't ruin relationships. We are two people with opposite political views proving that it's possible to disagree, discuss, and still get along. Welcome to the program.
I have my glasses on today, so I look weird.
You look weird with your glasses, too.
Fair.
I think it's your face.
This is it. That's what I deal with, everybody. Day in and day out.
Hokey Pokey Politics, episode 10.
We're in the double digits.
That's big.
We're not going back.
That's big. Episode 10.
Is it?
It is. I think most people quit after 2 or 3.
Oh, okay.
So.
We're still chugging through.
Man. Nobody's watching. Nobody's listening.
Oh, there is 250 downloads.
Yeah, 250 downloads. Good.
And that's just on the one site, right?
Yeah, Buzzsprout. Yeah. I mean, that includes all of the podcasts. It doesn't include the YouTube views.
Okay. All right.
Which those are.
Did one drop today?
Yes.
Okay. Meals was looking for it.
Episode 9 dropped today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's not true.
Oh.
It's Mondays and Fridays.
Oh, I thought you moved it to Thursday.
Maybe I did,
I think you did.
Didn't this week.
Okay, fair.
Okay. It will drop tomorrow.
Okay, it'll drop tomorrow. Okay. All
Mondays and Thursdays. I can't even remember when we agreed to release these.
Yeah. All right. Well, lots in the news again.
Hit me.
I don't even know where to start.
Well, start at the beginning.
Well, back in the day. No, I honestly, I don't. It's madness. Mitch McConnell's retiring.
Long overdue.
My God, that guy looks like a turtle. Should I do a Mitch McConnell impression while we're...
Well, you have to do your... Because he does this, too.
I do that, too, you said, you jerk. God, when that guy kept freezing up and locking up...
He's in a perpetual state of...
Yeah,
and then when he freezes,
yeah, he's just... Could you imagine?
You know what he looks like? There was a comedian that said, it was Bill Burr, who said that as people get older, they look scared. They look like they're perpetually scared.
Yes, he is scared all the time.
And that's him.
So, been in since 85, is that what you said?
85, yeah.
85. My God.
40 years as a politician, as a senator.
How long's Chuck Grassley been in? Did you look?
I didn't.
I mean, I know he's the longest reigning right now.
We have got to change that. Maybe we need 2 age limits, one on when you can be and one on how long, can
we do it for all the offices?
The oldest you can be.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like, if you want to be a House member and you want to be 20 years old, okay. Like, there's 400 of you. But when you only have 2 in a state, like, we should probly be...
What is the age requirement for the Senate? It's 35 for president.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know that there is one.
Okay.
Young-wise. I mean, I could be totally wrong there, but I feel like there wasn't, 18 or whatever, I'm assuming. But, yeah, because... oh no, Cortez is she's in the House and she got in young too.
True, yeah. She was 26.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am all for, you serve your 1 or 2 terms and then you go back home and you continue doing whatever you bartend or whatever you were doing before you get
there was a guy in I met him probably 2012. All I remember is his first name was Brian, and he was the governor of Montana, and he was a Democratic governor of Montana, which, I mean, that's like unheard of. But he had
a Democratic governor in Montana.
Yeah, in Montana.
I was thinking Minnesota.
Oh yeah, no, in Montana, and he had an 80% approval rating in the state. I mean, he was great, very bipartisan, very down the middle, but fair, and like people loved him. And then he came up on his 2-year max, and they would have kept him if they could have. But ultimately they said, you know what? Your 2 years or your 2 terms is up, dude. You got to go.
Yeah.
And that part sucks when you've got somebody that's really good.
It does.
But
you get someone else who's really good.
Right. You find somebody else and you teach them.
What was I just had something. Here's something I am not for that is being proposed.
From the right?
Yeah. Straight from the mouth of Trump.
I'm ready.
Have you seen that he is trying to push through giving a dividend to everybody on the savings from Doge. I do not want that to happen.
Here's why, in my mind. Again, I
know there's an evil reason.
There's an evil reason.
Yeah, sure.
They said they want to do it in July of 20, which would be 5 months before this midterm elections. Why wouldn't you do it in July?
Well, sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, I mean, if you're going to do it, you should use it for some type of political advantage. Absolutely. I mean, any side would do that.
Right.
My thing is, if you are finally cutting waste, fraud, abuse, and you're saving money, pay off the debt. That was the whole point. Stop giving money. I mean, granted, it's our tax money. I get that. But stop giving that money back. That's not really, I mean, $5,000 is a lot of money. I'm not saying it isn't. But we have a debt that is not sustainable.
Right.
And if you're going to save money, pay off the debt. That's going to do more to strengthen. Pay off the debt and lower taxes. That would be a bigger benefit to everybody than sending them a $5,000 check.
Yeah. That's just a whole nother can of worms, though.
Bush sent out a check. I don't remember what that was for. Was it $800 everybody got?
Yeah.
And then
didn't Bush do one just before Obama got elected?
I think
part of the bailouts and stuff.
I
feel like he did a stimulus just before Obama got in. And then I feel like Obama did one.
And I didn't like it when Bush did it.
Right.
And then there were checks being sent out during COVID. I didn't like that. In fact, you could opt out of those, and I did because I think it's ridiculous. And then this one's being proposed. It just drives me insane. Lower the tax rate and pay off the debt. That's going to do more to help the country.
I think that's like yin and yang, though. I don't know that you can do both.
Yeah, you can. You can. We collect way too much money. But the reason we collect so much is because we have so much fraud, waste, and abuse. And
we spend, $200 billion.
You mentioned AOC, and I'm not just picking on her. She's just an example of what we've been talking about. She was a bartender, and she got elected to Congress.
Right.
That was 4 years ago.
Yes.
And the last net worth estimate I saw for her is $8 million.
But it's also $250,000 to have her come talk at one of your events. Too.
Yeah. I mean, it's nuts how much money you make on a $250,000 a year salary as a politician.
Right.
That you're now worth $8 million 4 years later.
Why didn't we do that?
I don't know why we wouldn't. I think we need to do that.
Become politicians?
Yeah.
Can't.
Well, you can't, but I could.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, I don't have that background.
I do.
I didn't
college years. My college years are out. As soon as my Halloween costumes come out, it's just like, yep, I'm backing out of this campaign.
I tried to be somewhat straight and narrow. I didn't always succeed, but I didn't do anything that would disqualify me from public office.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: in a couple more years, everybody's going to have those. When you get to the point where cell phones were around in your college years, everybody's going to be in that same boat.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like. They've all done
it. If cell phones were around,
See, that's the thing. And that's when my college years came, is right when cell phones were popular. And so, I mean, it was all like every Halloween was like, how outrageous can you get?
Yeah.
And nobody thought about that. Yeah, but nobody thought
it still should be.
But it was not
the
politically
fact that it's
correct.
Not, well, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And that should be okay.
Right. It's not.
Yeah, it should be.
I know, but it's not. Yeah.
I gotta put my earmuff on. I forgot to.
Oh.
We were chatting before.
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
Anyways,
what else going on?
I mean, Doge came out and made a pretty big mistake. They left it on their website all day saying that they saved $8 billion on some, I don't remember what it was, IRS, maybe one of them. And it was really 8 million. And I mean, it's just they're.
So it wasn't real money. It's just.
No, it's still real money. It's still a chunk of change, but but the thing is, like,
who cares? I mean, there's going to be mistakes made. There's going to be, who cares? I mean, this is the problem with politics is they, every tiny little thing gets micromanaged down to its, gets scrutinized down to its smallest detail.
Right.
And if you can find anything wrong, then you latch on to that and you use it to bolster your side against the other.
But it goes the other way though. It goes the other way. And it's so I found this little thing. I'm a hero because I found it. And so like the now that they're really, if they weren't gloating about this so much, I don't think there'd be that much.
I don't know that they're gloating. I think
oh my God, it's on everything.
Well, but in other words, okay, they're promoting for sure.
Yeah. Look what I saved.
But this is what they were elected to do. And so all they're doing is saying, hey, this is what we're elected to do. Look, we're doing it.
Right.
But this is what we're finding.
Here's what they're finding though. They are looking at, Doge. We saved Doge $8 billion on this contract. The contract's already been fulfilled. It's already been paid. It's done. We're canceled it. It's already done.
It's interesting to me that every time Doge finds money, your claim is that it was already found 2 years ago.
No, I'm saying it's already, the contract is already done.
Right.
Like they've already spent the money.
This has been your talking point since we've been talking about this. It's like they sent agents to the border. It was already done. Oh, Canada's going to play ball. It was already done.
That was.
Oh, Doge found money. It was already done.
No, that money's already been spent.
They claimed to cancel a China. It was already done.
No, I'm not saying that that the, what are they called? The inspector general of that department. I'm not saying that Inspector General found those. I'm saying they've already been paid out. So they said, hey, we're going to give $45 million to Malaysia. Well, the $45 million is already spent. It's already there. And then Musk comes along. He's like, hey, we found $45 million and we just saved you by canceling that contract. The contract's canceled already. It was paid out in 2022. You're not canceling anything. It's done. It's a one-time. It wasn't a revolving every year we do this. It was a one-time expense. But they're still putting it up as we're saving you guys all this money. And it's like, if they take their numbers and they pay every American out what they saved, or I think Trump might have said 20% or 50% of what they save is what they're going to pay out to the American public, it's going to break us. Only because that money's not really savings. It's not like our bank account is getting larger. It's not like you look at the debt counter that you can get on right now and look at U.S. debt. The debt is not slowing down. It's still $200 billion and interest is going out. It's still ridiculous.
They haven't paid off any debt yet.
Right.
And they're not saying that this is going to grow our account. What they're saying is it's not going to drain our account.
Right.
The money's there. The money that we have is there. That's not changing.
It's borrowed, but it's there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What my point is, though, the money in the account is what's in the account. And what they're saying is not that, hey, we're getting more money and putting it to the account. It's that we're stopping this money from leaving the account for this purpose.
Right. Right. Yeah.
What about the fact that the government was funding subscriptions for left-wing magazines to bolster their subscription count and to use it to spread left-wing agenda items to the country?
And like other countries?
What do you mean?
What do you mean, here?
Yeah, that was here. That was here. Politico was the main one.
Politico?
Yeah.
I don't know Politico's leftist.
I don't know. I apparently you haven't heard about it, so it's worthless to talk about. But
I mean, that Politico is one of the ones that's a little more neutral, I believe.
Yeah, I'm sure you would believe that. I'm sure that's exactly.
So when you see that chart of the most biased
you
news
think the Huffington Post is a
I know what Huffington Post is, but you see that graph of all of the news stations on where they rank as far as radicalness.
Who's ranking them?
You could say that about anything, but have you seen it?
But that matters.
I mean, but have you seen, I would love for you to look at that and just say that is BS. Because when you look at it, MSNBC is obviously to the left. Fox News is obviously to the right. OAN is off the chart right. You know what I mean? And then you've got these different, Blaze is off to the far right. They're it's fairly accurate from what I can see. And the majority of them are right in the center. There is a bunch to the center left, no doubt. And the question then becomes, is that a public opinion? Is that I don't know that there's any way for us to know. You can't look at politics because half the population doesn't vote. So the half of the people that don't vote, are they center? Are they left? Are they right? Are they don't have anything because they don't care? And that those people still amaze me. I don't understand in this country how you could remain completely neutral. Good for you. I just don't have it in me.
I mean, that's how I was during my, teen years and into my 20s and probably even early 30s. I just didn't want to know anything about politics.
Right.
I hated the whole institution, still do, but I wouldn't even talk about it.
Right.
If somebody brought up politics with me, I would leave the room. I just didn't care.
God, look at how times have changed.
Yep. We
had a really good religious debate the other day in here. That was kind of interesting.
I don't know if it was a debate. It's just a discussion.
Okay, discussion. There you go.
I mean, there wasn't any.
No, I mean, I don't think, I don't know it clearly well enough to, this is what was said, or this, God, no. No. But yeah, politics and religion, man, they're tough ones to have conversations about. But I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, they don't have to be, but for some reason they ignite people's passions.
Yeah. I think we've ignited some passions on this thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, God, I see some of the comments and
where
people
that are in comments. I haven't seen any.
Either on the Facebook page or you'll see them.
I haven't seen any.
When you share one of them and there's people that are just how are you friends with this freaking guy?
Are they saying that on your page?
No, it's on when you shared it on your Facebook page and people comment on it. Yeah.
I haven't really.
Yeah.
I was hoping we would have more comments than we get.
Yeah.
Especially on the YouTube channel or
right.
More engagement, but I'm not.
I mean, that does bring up a good point. We do need to talk about what other people want to hear about.
Well, and I ask all the time, hey, give us topic suggestions.
Yeah.
Well, we had that one that wanted to deep dive kind of, in the Second Amendment, which, that was fun.
Maybe we should just go amendment by amendment, go right down them all.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. I mean, we could. Hey.
Can you imagine? Yeah. You get to the really boring ones.
I feel like that would be sitting in the most boring classroom you've ever been in.
I have the right to a speedy trial. No, you don't. Yes, I do.
That's being taught by two people who have no.
That's every TikToker right now. I get on TikTok and I'm just and you got these people a plane crashed in Toronto and I'm like, dude, you have no, you literally just saw it on the news. So you jumped on to make a TikTok about it and you're just regurgitating what you just heard. Right. You're not news. If you I saw it first from Brian, gosh dang it. Brian something. He was in the Gabby Petito case, big time, a reporter. And so he's the guy that now when something happens, he's on a plane within minutes. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he's heading to wherever the issue is. And there was the murders in Idaho. And he was boom, I'm there. And he's in front of the house and he's reporting on it. And he's talking to neighbors. I mean, he's in it. And the Gabby Petito stuff, remember her she was the one, the girl that got murdered by her boyfriend in the
oh, the one in the wilderness,
Jackson Hole. Yeah.
That ended up. Yeah. They found the RV.
Yep. So he was in on that case. That's kind of where I started following him. Cause he was getting not behind, I don't want to say behind the scenes, but on the ground real quick. And he was the one that tweeted out that there was the plane that crashed in Toronto. And I'm like, what in the world? And then yesterday there was another plane crash. Killed two people.
It was two small airplanes that had a midair.
Yeah. And then Amelia sent me one that might have been Houston somewhere it was Atlanta. They had to evacuate a plane because the engine caught on fire.
Oh,
and they're out on the tarmac and they're all running out of the plane. I'm like, what?
Yeah. What's going on?
What is seriously? Yeah. Normally, when this kind of stuff happens, the news kind of sucks in on it. So you start hearing about stuff that airplane blew a tire. It's well, they probably blow tires all the time and it's not a big deal. But since we're talking about accidents,
they don't.
Okay. Well, I mean, just, you know what I mean? The media will sensationalize it because it's something that's in the news now. So one part of me is man, they're really going to be hitting on every little bump in the road with aviation. There's a lot of bumps in the road right now.
Yeah.
I would legitimately, I'm not a nervous, I think about things with flying, but I'm not a super nervous flyer.
No, I'm not either. No. Every time I take off, I do feel a little bit of that lack of control.
Yes.
And prayer for safety.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not a nervous flyer, especially once we get to altitude and we're cruising. I mean, those jet engines are made to just thrust forever.
Right.
I mean, they just don't quit.
Yep.
And Yeah. I mean, the takeoff and the landing obviously are the
right.
the
Now
critical
landings
points.
are seem to be a little more critical at this point.
For sure.
Good God.
For sure. And I haven't done any study on it. So I won't even say it. But the Toronto thing, I was going to comment on the DC thing, but I won't. The Toronto thing, it's interesting. I watched the video and it's obviously a hard landing. There's little to no flare at the end, which, obviously led to the hard landing. But somebody else pointed out that it doesn't look like they lowered their flaps at all, which, those come in really hot when the flaps aren't down.
Yeah. I mean, it said that thing lands at 150 miles an hour
with flaps. Yeah.
Like,
it's probably a little bit slower than that. It's probably more like 120, but I don't know. I don't really know that type of jet real well, but the flaps also increase the lift though. So, when you do flare, you get better lift too. So yeah, something was missed there.
Right.
Is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Something was missed. 2 years ago, there were people primarily on the right that were saying that DEI has the potential to start causing a lot of accidents like this. And they were specifically talking about the airline industry. This was 2 years ago. They were saying, this is an area where we can't compromise. And I'm not blaming DEI for this yet, because I want to wait for all the information. And I've always been that way, or at least tried to be. And what bothers me, this is my point, and I think you'll agree, is what bothers me is this rush to every situation is a DEI situation.
Oh, I heard it right away.
Yeah.
They said this was an unmanned aircraft.
The helicopter?
The plane in Toronto. They said unmanned.
Right.
Yeah, this entire jet.
Well, I saw a post
which was not true at all.
I don't know who was flying it.
Yeah, I mean, I heard the audio, and I know it wasn't a woman.
Oh, okay. So this is Envoy, the airline. It's Envoy. It's a Delta plane, I think.
Right.
But it's leased by Envoy.
Right.
And the first post I saw about DEI, it said that Envoy likes to brag about having all female flight crews, which fine, they do. But to just make the assertion without any information, without any facts that it's a DEI thing, I don't like. Fan of that at all.
Right.
I want the facts to come out, and then we talk about what led to the situation.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not what happens, though.
No, it's not. No, and it's again, it's everything has to be sensationalized. Yeah. The left never does.
I mean,
like
not
that.
With the DEI, they don't. But
No. Well, obviously, because they're the ones that put it in place and are huge fans of it.
Yeah, I still don't like that. So here's the problem, though, and here's the problem. I think that people on the left feel like it's a dog whistle, and that is that mindset makes it seem as if female pilots are less qualified than what a male pilot would be, and that's where I think the problem is.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that would. I mean, could there be female pilots that are more able? Absolutely. In my mind, I would never say, this is not one of the things that I would say a woman could never do better than a man. And I think that's where a lot of the rub is it's like everything she was a woman, so that's the cause of the accident. Dude, there's thousands of accidents caused by white males, and we're not looking at them like, oh, you did it because you're white. No, like it doesn't always have to be that. It can be mechanical failure. It can be lack of training. It can be an accident.
Yeah.
Like there's 2 million people that fly every single day in this country. There's going to be accidents, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And, I mean, like you can't, it's like handing everybody a cup of water and saying, nobody spill the water. Somebody's spilling the water.
But you have to look at every one of those and say, could this have been prevented?
Could you say that with the white guys, though?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
No, that's what I mean. But you have to look at every situation.
Okay.
You have to say what caused this and could it have been prevented?
Right.
There was a guy last year, and this barely made the news. I think it only made local news where it happened, but I happened to stumble across it because I was investigating some of these accidents. And there was a guy that flew out of Hawaii. It was a passenger jet. Flew out of Hawaii, got to about, I think it was 1,000 feet, and plummeted to like within 200 feet of the ocean.
Oh, the plane did.
The plane did.
Those are with full crew.
So you've heard this.
100%.
And then it climbed out.
Yep.
So come to find out, the guy behind the controls is a DEI hire. They've proven that. He was fired from 2 previous airlines and had a history of panicking in the simulator under emergencies and just pressing random buttons.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean that what happened was because he panicked and started pressing random buttons.
Sure.
But it does bring up, did that factor in somehow?
So that would be a hiring practices issue. No different.
Right.
No,
I just said that.
No different than you get a police force who happened to hire this guy who's been fired from 3 different police forces for police brutality.
Absolutely.
And then he shoots some unarmed person. Well, but I mean, I'm just talking in generalities. Yeah. But you've seen it.
You're asserting that he was fired for police brutality and you don't know that.
Regardless, if he's fired from one position, if you're fired as a pilot, you probably shouldn't be able to be a pilot anywhere else.
Agreed. Agreed.
Sorry.
But there's only one reason that he was able to still be a pilot.
Or there was people that, I mean, you could say the same thing about the white cop. Like, the only reason he was brought in was because... Are
you going to make the claim that a white cop was a DEI hire?
No, I'm making the claim that if he was a black cop that did the same thing, it's like, oh, they only hired him because he was a black guy. Like, no, people are shitbag people, whether they're white, black, gray, green, it doesn't matter. Like, that guy,
right? But
the DEI
I don't think this guy was a shitbag person. I'm saying he was unqualified to be a pilot.
Right. And I'm saying regardless of age, gender, race, creed, national origin, none of that matters.
It does matter, because if it wasn't for his race, he wouldn't have been hired. That's my point.
And that's what I find that very hard to believe. Like, why you would take somebody that's not qualified and say, hey,
yes,
I'm going to put you in front of.
Thank you. Welcome to the Republican Party.
Oh, yeah, right.
Exactly. Right. That's the question that we've been asking this whole time.
Right.
Is why would you hire someone who's unqualified to do the job?
Yeah.
And you know what we've been told?
What?
Well, it's for diversity, it's for equity, and it's for inclusion. Mm-hmm. So welcome to the Republican Party. Right. Yeah. I'm glad you're finally asking those questions.
No, that's definitely not part of the Republican Party, for those wondering.
No, it definitely is. But no, thank you for joining our side.
Yeah,
I love it.
This will be our last show, by the way.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, because now we're on the same side.
We're never going to be on the same side. I can promise you.
Yeah, but the Toronto one's going to be interesting because there were definitely things in the landing sequence that were missed. But I was going to say, you were saying, can women be qualified pilots? And I've been in aviation a long time, either from an interest standpoint or I've actively participated. And, if I go to an air show, for example, I went to Oshkosh last year, which is the largest air show in America. And it was the first time I'd ever gone, been wanting to go my whole life. Finally went. And there was a girl there who was an F-16 pilot. And, when I saw her, I didn't think DEI. I thought badass chick. Like, this girl, because I know what it takes to get, I don't know what it takes. Right. I have a glimpse of what it takes to get to that level. And it is nonstop train, study. You don't do anything else.
Right.
For like 4 or 5 years.
Right.
Before they let you, and especially as an air show pilot, like, you have to be elite.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at her and I go, that is a badass chick. That is an elite F-16 pilot right there. If they're letting her do this.
Right.
I saw a video today of an F-22 that was getting ready to launch. So they were going through the sequence of, the pilot. It's really interesting to watch because there's such a routine to it.
Right.
So he was, climbing in the cockpit. Well, he happened to be black. I didn't look at that guy and think, oh, that's a DEI hire. I looked at that guy and I was like, that's a badass pilot.
Right.
Because if he's flying an F-22, you don't get there without being an elite badass.
I agree.
But in the airline industry, when you have so many that you need, and you not only lower standards, but you make a show of lowering standards in order to achieve diversity, equity, and inclusion, I don't think that's the place to do it.
I mean, if that's truly happening, it's one thing if you're talking about somebody that's piloting a plane, if you're talking about a mechanic, if you're talking about like those, I don't care if it is, I don't care what they like. The fact that there is the the race or the sex even on an application makes no sense to me. It doesn't matter. Who cares? If you're qualified and you know what you're doing, that's what matters. Period.
There's a guy on YouTube that I follow, and he decided in his, so this is the path I went down, was because of him. He decided at the age of 51, he was going to change careers and he was going to become a pilot because he'd always wanted to do it. So he started a YouTube channel to kind of follow his progress. I started following him. Well, through this YouTube channel, he started meeting more and more pilots that were kind of guiding him and reaching out to him, in his email. And at one point, he brought up the whole hiring practices that are going on now. And he asked on his channel, he was like, if you have firsthand knowledge about any of this, please reach out to me. Just let me know what your experience is. He reported back and he said he got an email from someone that he ended up having a phone conversation with. And it was a captain at an airline. And he, of course, couldn't say his name. But this guy has no political agenda. He's just, I'm getting into the airlines. I've heard this is happening. I just wanted to find out for myself. He said this guy reached out to him and said, here's what's happening. Unqualified people are being hired to be co-pilots in the airlines, and they're being paired up with, the boomer generation of qualified pilots. And he said they make mistakes all the time, and they're horrible mistakes. They're mistakes that if they don't have someone qualified next to them, people are going to get killed. And he said the problem is the boomer generation is retiring and they're not going to be around to save the day much longer. And he was legitimately terrified for the industry.
Here's the thing. This goes back to the right. When you go at the airline industry and you go at what are the people called that do the work
air traffic control?
Air traffic control. When the government goes after them for either their contracts or because most of them are union, so they've been demonized for forever, that, how dare you want to join a union? I think you're going to, it's like a police force now. Years ago, that was a job that people looked up to. People looked up to the police officers back in the day. And it's like you ask any 5-year-old and they're like, oh, I want to be a police officer, because it's like a heroic job. Pilots, I think, are in kind of that same category. Like they're looked up to. Right. Sure. I think that's less and less now that they get more and more demonized. And when you demonize them over and over and over again, I feel like it's less.
Yeah, but it's not the right that's demonizing them.
Oh, it always is the right. Always. Because they're union. Because they're union people. No, they're greedy.
The police aren't being demonized by the right. They're being demonized by the left because they're doing their job. And anytime a white cop,
are we talking about the cops? Or are we talking about?
We're talking about the cops.
I'm talking about
You brought up the cops first. You said this is what it's like to be a cop now. Nobody wants to be a cop because they're being demonized. Okay. They're being demonized by the left.
Okay.
They're not being demonized by the right.
Okay. I'm not talking about that. I just said when I answered that question, I was answering about
and pilots aren't being demonized by the right.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
100%.
The right might demonize unions, but they're not demonizing pilots.
When they go at them and call them greedy people for wanting to get a raise and greedy for wanting better working conditions, that is demonizing. It happens every time there's a contract negotiation.
I've never heard anyone on the right.
Ronald Reagan had the hugest fight with them of anybody.
Ronald Reagan had a fight with them, but they were going to quit working, and he said, yes. No, you can't do that.
They absolutely can. Then give us what we want. Yeah, then give us what we want. If we're that important, pay us what we deserve.
So we're just held hostage by these. Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
It does, okay. Because if you need them,
we don't negotiate with terrorists.
Okay, but you let them. You let them bring your planes in. That's okay.
I let them bring my planes in.
The air traffic controllers, they're the ones that control the planes coming in. They
Oh yeah.
So they're not terrorists. They are people that are trying to make a living wage. Isn't it the highest suicide rate job? One of the highest suicide rate jobs, the air traffic control, because the level of stress.
I think it's a high rate, but I don't think it's that.
Okay.
I don't think it's anywhere near the highest.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
I don't know that.
Right. Just because, you think about, you've got one person. You got more than one, but one person making the call of every single plane coming and going.
Yes.
That's insane.
That's not how it works.
So. Okay. Yeah. But whatever. Anyway, it's freaking insane.
Yeah.
But no,
it is a stressful job.
Right. So I think we are getting where we went off path is police are demonized, airlines are demonized. Obviously, it's opposite parties and opposite reasons. Okay, that's what I was. That's what I can get.
I've never heard, and I may just have not paid attention.
Right.
I've never heard anyone on the right demonize the airline industry.
Okay.
That I don't know that that's a thing.
Well, I have heard people on the left demonize the police force.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you that.
Yes.
And sometimes it's completely justified.
The problem is, for every one that is justified, there are 20 that claim it's just like that one, and it's not. That's the problem.
Okay.
We're not looking at these situations objectively. It's like anytime you cannot in this country have an interaction between a white cop and a black person that is not racially motivated.
Okay.
According to the left.
Okay.
You cannot have it. And that's the problem.
Okay. So they're rare. Are they rare?
Interactions?
I mean, not interactions that turn south.
No, they're not rare.
I'm legitimately curious.
Every single one of them, I won't say that, 99.999% of them is noncompliance. Okay. That's where it starts.
Because the I can't call them a perpetrator because I don't know what they've, there are still rights.
The suspect
is not doing what the boss says you need to do, and the boss being the cop.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. And I don't disagree that that's, let me back up. I agree that does happen. I don't agree that the people that are suspects don't have their constitutional rights, that the police force just, in my mind, the ones that are causing the issues just aren't trained enough on to understand and know. That's what I think some of it is. I'm not going to say 99%, but
you're wrong, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I could, so are you, but
I'm not wrong. You get pulled over by a cop.
Okay.
For speeding.
Okay.
Or because your tag's expired. Okay. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Cop comes up to your window and says, I pulled you over because your tag expired. I need your license, I need your registration, and I need your insurance.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
I mean, me personally?
Yeah. What should anyone in that situation do?
I mean, I will answer this in two ways. One, I will say, in my adult life, I'm going to do what has been said, what has been asked, as long as it's within reason. I will tell you,
what part of that was not within reason? What part of, I need your license, your registration,
because that's not how the
insurance.
Conversation usually goes.
Tell me how it goes.
When they walk up to your car, it's not always, give me your license, registration. It's much more.
Tell me how it goes.
I mean, we've had this conversation before.
Tell me how it goes.
What part do you want to know? I mean, because I've gotten into some pretty good confrontations with some police officers.
Yep.
And it was never because could you say I was breaking the law? I can look at your truck right now and tell you that there's something on your truck that's breaking the law.
I bet you can.
I can grab your exhaust pipe, and
nothing on my car that's breaking.
I can get a ruler out and I can look at your exhaust pipe.
It's factory.
That doesn't matter. And I can wiggle it more than 2 inches, and that is a loose exhaust, and you can get pulled over for it. I did it. I got it. I got pulled over.
You would have to see it moving 2 inches. You can't just pull me over and then take a ticket.
Oh, you can, and they do. And it's not. And I've said it before. It's not a race issue. It's a class issue. The police look at different classes of people, and I was in a lower class of people. I was the trailer park boy, and I was the poor kid, and I clearly had to deal drugs because I had a nice car. And I've myself personally.
This is so off the point, though.
It's not.
Not at all. I'll just say it this way. I watch a lot of police interactions on YouTube. I watch a lot of them. And these police, especially nowadays with cameras, they are way too kind in most cases, in my opinion. Way too kind. They come up to the window, oh, excuse me, sir or ma'am. I pulled you over because your tag's expired. I need your license. I need your registration. I need a copy of your insurance. Oh, you don't have a copy of your insurance? That's fine. Let me go run this. You see if you can find that. Call mom, whatever you got to do, and I'll be back in just a minute.
Okay.
That's a lot of times how it goes. But normally they get to the window. A lot of times people won't even roll the window down. And I'm not making a race issue here. I'm saying it's across the board. A lot of times they won't even roll the window down. Well, you have to roll the window down. That's part of it.
Do you?
They have to be able to hear you. They have to be able to hear you, especially if you have tinted windows. They have to be able to make sure that they're safe.
Okay.
That there's nobody hiding in the back pointing a gun at them. So if they request you to roll your window down, roll your window down. If they request you have to present a license. You have to present insurance. You have to present proof of or registration. And if they say step out of the car, that is a Supreme Court ruling. That is a lawful order, you have to step out of the car.
If you're being detained.
No. They can ask you to step out of the car, and you have to step out of the car, and you're not allowed. Why are you asking me to step out of the car? I don't have to step out of the car. No, you do. And the time to fight that is not on the side of the road. If you feel like your rights were violated, that's what the courtroom is for.
That's ridiculous. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
The Supreme Court has ruled on that.
Okay. And they also ruled that Trump has imminent freaking powers too. So I don't care what the Supreme Court said. The fact of the matter is,
I just want to go on record. Wait,
what?
You no longer care what the Supreme Court says. So you can no longer use that in any of our discussions here,
fair.
because you no longer care what the Supreme Court says. Okay, perfect.
Anyways,
I just want that on.
Anyways, there's a lot more than just that what the Supreme Court says about when you get pulled over and what
tell me what it is. Tell me.
I don't have it in front of me right now.
Exactly. So you don't even know that's the case.
I'm telling you right now, it wasn't one sentence. I guarantee that to you right now. It's probably 50 pages of exactly what the law reads, and it doesn't get boiled down to
if you're
do whatever you do. Let the cop violate your rights, and you worry about that later. That is not the boiled down version of it. Under any circumstances, a cop does not have the right to violate your rights. Period.
No,
you can ask for a supervisor.
Your rights, but
you're just saying if you want to violate my rights, you can.
I didn't say that.
That's
exactly. Did not say that.
If a cop is violating your rights,
say that.
So you're telling me right now. You're telling me right now, if a cop violates your rights or your daughter's rights, that you're going to say no, comply, do whatever he says. We'll fight this in court because I can promise you it ain't going nowhere in court. I promise you.
What I told you was the time to fight with the cops about your rights is not on the side of the road, because all it does is go bad from there.
Okay.
That's why people are getting shot. That's why people are getting
shot because cops don't understand how to de-escalate a situation.
No,
they walk up with a power trip.
I
have seen it with my eyes.
That's not.
You know how many times
I'm sure it's true in some cases.
You know how many times I've had guns pulled on me?
That's not true.
You know how many times I've seen the end of a cop's gun?
I don't care.
Oh, okay, that's fine, but it's more than once, and never once have I been a violent person.
Yeah. So here you go, demonizing the cops again.
I'm not demonizing the cops.
You just did.
So every single cop is bad? I never said that. Never once.
Okay.
I can tell you there are bad cops, and there are cops that have power trips, and there are cops that violate people's rights, and they should no longer be employed. And once they're no longer employed, they should not be able to be employed at any other police station.
I don't dispute that. I don't dispute that.
But how do you get fired?
I'm giving you an example.
Okay.
And it's a real life example. I've watched it 1,000 times
TV.
Okay.
And I've watched it in real life with my eyes.
It's body cam.
Okay.
So it's the actual interaction.
Okay.
All the cop does is go up and say, here's why I pulled you over. Now I need this, this, and this. You ran a stop sign. That's why I pulled you over. I didn't run a stop sign. I'm not giving you anything. I don't have to give you anything. I didn't run a stop sign.
Mm-hmm.
That's bull. I didn't run a stop sign. I'm not giving you anything.
Okay.
That is not the time.
I won't fully disagree with you right there. If that is the exact situation,
that's the exact situation.
I think where this country has failed, our driver's ed age people, is you go through 6 months of schooling on how to drive, how to change lanes, how to do all kinds of stuff. What they don't do is have you get pulled over by a police officer and discuss how you get how to approach the situation, what your rights are, what the police rights are, what the safety rights are. That's not part of the training, which is a big issue.
All right. My kids didn't get that training from their driver's ed.
Okay.
You know who they got it from? They got it from me.
Okay.
So it's not, I think driver's ed should do it. Absolutely. But if parents have a responsibility here too.
Okay.
Teach your kids how to be pulled over. The problem is the parents, that are teaching the kids are the ones who are doing this to begin with.
Okay.
And then telling their kids, yeah, you don't have to do, you don't have to follow what they say.
So anyway,
they don't have any rule over you.
There are plenty of times where, and we can bust out the video from Minnesota right now, where cop walks up to an African American's car. He hands them his driver's license. He hands them his concealed carry card and say, "I have
shot.
I have a gun on me."
I know, but the problem is that one incident, which was wrong.
He didn't go to jail, did he?
I have no idea what the outcome of that was. But that one incident that was wrong gets blown up into this is every interaction with a cop.
That's not the case at all.
That's absolutely the case. That's absolutely the case. Because now
that is a complete exaggeration.
No, it's not.
And you know what? And I also see the white cops playing basketball with kids in the inner city. And I see, like, it's not all like what you're making it out to be. Does it happen a lot?
That's what the media makes it out to be, and that's what the left makes it.
And the media is also showing us every plain flub that's out there right now. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that that's what I absorb. What I'm telling you is that there is lack of training, and maybe it's getting better. I don't know, but there is a lack of training in de-escalation policies, practices with police officers. There should be much, much more of it. You get into other countries and it takes a 4-year degree to be a police officer. It takes a 4-year degree just to be a cop. Here, you don't have to have any college. Okay, the standards are much lower here than what they are elsewhere.
I'm okay with not having to go to our worthless colleges to become a police officer.
And
I mean, have a 2-year training program, fine, specific to police. I'd be fine with that.
It takes Amelia more hours to get her cosmetology license than it does for a cop to go through the police academy in the state of Illinois. You do more hours to learn how to cut hair.
I don't think that's true.
100% true.
Can I finish that sentence?
I'm telling you the facts, but go ahead.
Okay. No. You've got it all figured out.
I'm telling you the fact.
Yeah,
I know this.
You've got it all figured out.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I'll just let you continue in your ignorance. That's fine.
There is a number of hours you have to be a police officer. There's a number of hours to be a cosmetologist. That's all I'm saying. And that's wrong.
But you limit those hours to the police academy.
What?
You limit those hours to the police academy.
I'm not following you.
You're saying 700 hours of cosmetology.
It's more than 1,000.
And not as much in the police academy.
Yes.
You limit the training hours to the police academy.
Did I have a stroke just now? I have no idea what you're trying to say.
You're saying you're equating cosmetology school with the police academy.
Yes.
And you're acting as if the training stops at the police academy.
No, I'm saying that's what it takes to get your badge.
And so therefore, they don't have more training than cosmetologists, because once they leave police academy, that's it. They're done.
On day one, when you walk out of the police force or you walk out of cosmetology school, you have more hours in cosmetology school, and that's backwards. That's all I'm saying. And the fact that we can't look at that and say, because we should train our people better.
That's not the end of their training.
Neither is it with cosmetology school. You still have to do continuing education. You still do other stuff. You still learn on the job. I'm just saying, before you get to the basic bottom rung of the business, you should get better training. We need better training. That's all I'm saying. And the fact that we can't say, you know what, more training would never hurt anybody. Learning more about constitutional rights is never going to hurt anybody. Learning more about driving skills or, you know, whatever the cop is going to learn, better training is better. Like, why we can't just sit back and say, you know what, we have had a lot of confrontations in this, you know, particular community. Maybe we should do some better training.
So if you're a cop and you pull someone over and you have a legitimate reason, their tag's expired, let's say, and you pull them over and you say, I pulled you over because your tag's expired. I need your license, registration, and proof of insurance. And they tell you no.
Okay.
How do you de-escalate that situation?
I'm not a cop.
Do you just then say, okay, have a nice day. I'll see you later.
Of course not. But you can.
And then you say to them, listen, I need your license. I need your registration. I need your proof of insurance. If you don't provide that, that's obstruction and you can be arrested. And I don't want to arrest you, but I will have to if you don't provide those. I'm not giving you anything. You had no reason to pull me over. How do you de-escalate that?
I'm not trained in de-escalation to be able to tell you that.
Okay, step out of the car. No, I'm not stepping out of the car. Okay, how do you de-escalate that?
I'm going to answer it the same way. I'm not trained in it. That's why I'm not a police officer. But cops that can learn some psychology and learn how to get around that stuff would be better for everybody.
So are police supposed to have any authority in this country?
What do you mean?
I'm asking you a basic question. Are they supposed to have authority in this country?
Authority that doesn't violate rights 100%.
Sure. In the scenario I just gave you, are any rights being violated?
I don't believe so, but I don't know that for a fact. Because here's the thing, I've also watched. I can't even. I've also
it's
watched.
So hard to have a logical conversation
because I've watched the attorneys go through a field sobriety test or a check,
and which had nothing to do with this scenario.
They hold up their driver's license. They hold up their a sign that says I'm not willing to have a conversation with you. Here's the information that you're required. That is what the law allows. So I'm not going to look and say that if this guy in the car holds his driver's license up and holds something up to the window that he doesn't at that point fulfill his obligation as a citizen. I don't know that law. That's why I'm saying I don't know that he is or isn't violating anything.
I don't know. You don't have to answer questions.
Okay.
You do not. That is fully within your right.
Right.
You do have to provide a license. You have to provide registration. You have to provide proof of insurance.
Okay. And I don't know that. Like, that's all I'm saying.
You don't know that you're supposed to do that?
I don't know that you have to do that by law. I just don't know. That's all I'm saying. Do I get asked for it? I 100% do. But I'm telling you right now, the attorney that rolled through the sobriety test didn't do all of that, and he didn't get in trouble for it because he was within his rights. So I have no idea. That's all I'm saying. Could it be? 100%. Could it not be? 100%. I don't know. That's it.
My scenario was they didn't even show a license.
Okay.
And then they were told that's obstruction.
Okay.
If you don't give me a license, registration, proof of insurance, I have to take you to jail because you're obstructing. I'm not giving you anything.
Okay.
Step out of the car. I'm not stepping out. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not stepping out. Do police have authority or not?
They have authority up until they violate rights. Yes.
Okay. So no rights have been violated yet.
Okay.
So how do you enforce that authority?
You don't shoot them. I'll tell you that. That's not how you.
Nobody said anybody was going to get shot over.
They're going to. Here, I can show you where the end of this story is.
No, you're right. You're right.
Anyway,
you know what?
That was
what? And when they get shot, it'll be just because they got pulled over for an expired tag.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be the reason. It won't be because they didn't comply, they obstructed, and then they pulled a weapon on the police. It won't be for that reason. Right. It'll be because they had an expired tag. Somebody got killed over an expired tag today.
Right. I mean,
that's the media narrative.
The fact that and here's the thing. If the cop is going to push it to that level over an expired tag.
Who's pushing? Who's the one that's pushing? They have authority and they have to enforce the law, and they're not being complied with. So who's the one that's pushing?
They both are.
This is the whole problem with the left right here. This is the whole, what is he supposed to do? Just let him go?
I'm not saying
you're not going to comply. So rather than escalate this situation and somebody ends up getting hurt,
what do
you just go on disregarding the laws of the United States.
Honest question.
And we'll just call it good.
Honest question. What do they do in Europe?
That's what the left wants.
What do they do?
That's exactly what they want.
What do they do in Europe when they don't have guns? Honest question.
They use nightsticks. And they probably have a citizenry that for the most part complies. I don't know what they do.
Yeah, I'm literally legitimately curious.
What they do. And some of them do have guns. I mean, this idea that none of them have guns.
It's the regular patrolmen don't. But yeah.
I don't know what they do. I haven't seen it.
I mean, and the only reason I ask is because
they have tasers.
They do have a degree, and they probably more knowledge and training. And that's all I'm asking. That legitimate question. I don't know the answer.
Listen, if you want more knowledge and training, fine. Let's have more knowledge and training. But until you teach the citizenry that they have to comply with police, you're still going to have these situations.
And that's what I'm saying. Before you get a driver's license, that should be part of your training.
Great. But until then, you're saying de-escalate, don't enforce the law, just let them go. because otherwise you're pushing.
Here's the thing.
Otherwise you're pushing, and you can't push. You're a come on, you're a policeman. You can't push.
I'm not going to go to the level of, I'm
going to love it when somebody breaks into your house and you call the police, and the police get there and they're like, come out here, we want to talk to you. And the guy's like, nope. And you're like, oh no, just leave. He's not going to comply. I don't want you to escalate this to a situation where he could get hurt.
Right. Or he's doing something so minuscule that you're pulling them over for a BS reason. That part we're not talking about.
So if they're violating the law, that's a BS reason for pulling them over.
And I'm telling you,
no matter
I can go to your truck right now and show that you're breaking the law.
I promise you can.
I'm telling you right now, your exhaust moves more than 2 inches. And I've been pulled over for that, and my entire vehicle ransacked over 2-inch exhaust wiggle.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
Okay.
I've had it.
And I would call that BS, but I don't call speeding BS. I don't call an expired tag BS.
I got pulled over for cuddling the center line.
Yeah.
They said my wheels were too close to the center line.
Yeah. Well, that was a bad cop who had it out for you.
Oh no, there's no bad cops.
No,
all cops are great cops.
That.
No,
I never said that.
He's perfect.
I never said that. There's plenty of bad cops. I never said there weren't bad cops.
Then why can't some of these cops that are shooting people be bad cops?
It depends on the situation.
Because if they shoot a black guy, they're not bad. Is that what it is ultimately?
Is that what I said?
That's where we're headed. Because
no, that's not where we're headed. That's not where we're headed at all.
So here's the thing. You can have bad cops 100%. You can have great cops 100%. The fact of the matter is you can't get people on the right to say, you know what? That guy's a bad guy. Like he shouldn't have done what he did. It doesn't happen.
Yes, it just happened in our town. There isn't anybody I know who thinks that cop should have shot that woman. Nobody.
We talked about this.
Yes. And I didn't know all the circumstances, but now that I do, yeah, there's no reason that woman should have been shot. We've had that conversation.
Yeah.
And there's nobody I know that would say, oh yeah, he was justified in shooting her. Nobody.
Okay. Wow. That's a change of, that's a change.
Gosh.
We remember when we talked about it, she had a pot of boiling
water. What I told you was, I don't know.
Right.
Because I don't know if you're justified in shooting someone who throws a pot of boiling water at you.
Right.
I don't know.
So is he justified or not?
No, he's not justified.
Because he could have walked away. He could have stepped back.
Walked away.
He could have gotten distance.
He could have gotten distance.
That's what I'm saying. Like
what are you saying? I'm agreeing with you.
No, I'm saying the same thing with all of these. You don't have to fight every single situation.
You have to enforce the law.
Okay.
And if somebody is fighting you against enforcing the law,
against a $34 ticket for an expired plate,
it doesn't matter what it is.
Okay. And that's where
why does that matter?
Because you can mail a ticket to his house.
So that's my question is, what should be done in that situation? I've pulled you over because you have an expired tag. I'm asking for your credentials. You're refusing to give them to me. I've asked you to step out. I've told you you're going to be arrested if you don't give them to me because that's the law. I've asked you to step out. You refuse to do that. So you're saying just let them go. It's a $34 ticket. Just let them go.
I don't know. But I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to it.
Meanwhile, a lot of times when that happens, they end up finding a reason to search the car, and then they find drugs, they find weapons, they find all kinds of stuff. They find out this person's really bad. That's why they don't want interaction with us.
Potentially.
But you don't want that to happen. You just want them to de-escalate, let that person go. It's just a $34 ticket.
I can tell you myself.
So you don't want laws enforced. That's what you're saying. Ultimately, that's what you're saying. You don't want laws enforced, or there's a certain threshold of laws you don't want enforced.
If there's somebody that's got an expired plate, and this is just a legitimate question, they've got an expired plate and a cop hits his lights on and that person takes off.
Yep.
What is the best approach? To chase them?
It depends on the situation.
That is the situation.
It depends on the environment.
Okay.
What time of day is it? How much traffic is there? How much pedestrian traffic is there? And they make those decisions, and they do often call that off.
Okay. And the thing is, I can see your license plate. I can see that it's an expired tag. Why can't the cop say, you know what, that's an expired tag? You know, I'm going to hit my lights, or I'm not going to hit my lights, but either way, I'm going to send you a ticket. It happens in Iowa right now. If you run a stoplight, you're getting a ticket, but it's coming in the mail.
So then that ticket doesn't get paid.
Okay.
Right. That ticket doesn't get paid. So then a bench warrant is issued because you have an unpaid traffic violation. And so then the next time that tag gets run, oh, there's a bench warrant. Now I have to pull that person over. And so you pull that person over, and then the whole thing starts again. And so now they're not even, now immediately you go up and say, hey, you have a bench warrant. I have to arrest you. And they go, and they take off. So now you're in a chase again. And now you can't let it go because they have a bench warrant. So now you actually have to bring them in. I mean, you could let it go, but where does the cycle end? And when are we going to actually enforce the law?
Maybe you enforce the law, or maybe you make it where the jails aren't so cushy, so people actually don't want to go to jail.
I mean, I would love that.
And maybe that fixes some of the situation.
I mean, I would love that. But the reason they're so cushy is because the left demands it.
Okay.
Because anything else is inhumane treatment.
I don't demand it.
Well, you're sitting on the side of the table that demands it. And so if there's 11 of you demanding it, and you're sitting on the same side of that
it's not
table.
the same as Nazis.
Absolutely.
Man. No.
It's the same argument.
I'm not.
It's the same argument.
I'm not complicit in it.
It is the same argument. But I am. I never said
you are.
Yes, you did.
No,
you absolutely did. I will play the tape.
What the quote was,
you condone it. That's what you told me.
If there are 10 people or 11 people sitting at a table eating dinner and one of them is a Nazi, and
then you have 12 Nazis.
Yes, because
that's what you said. So if you're
here's the rest of this. Here's the meaning behind this.
I understand.
If you're sitting down eating dinner, that means you're with
sitting
them.
down eating dinner.
You're with them.
You're sitting down and eating dinner with those people.
Yes.
So you're for them.
Yes.
There you go.
I'm not sitting down eating dinner with them.
Yes, you are. You absolutely are.
Okay.
How am I sitting down eating dinner with them if you're not?
I didn't say you are. I said
yes.
I said the right. Right. And if you want to be part of the right, that's fine.
You absolutely said to me directly, you are condoning it. That's what you said.
If you are gonna, we're back to the Nazi freaking salute again.
No, you are.
I'm not back to it. You brought it up.
No, I didn't. I brought up your argument, but I didn't bring up Nazism or the salute.
Okay. You did. We don't need to rehash that.
I think we're done. Just because, I mean, this has gone on.
It has gone on.
Yeah.
Wait, I've got shit to do.
Mm-hmm.
This was going to be 20 minutes.
And I've got to edit the podcast that was supposed to come out today.
That's why it didn't get released.
Well, because I thought it was tomorrow, so there was no.
God, I look tired.
I've been dealing with broken trucks all week. So.
I look tired without my glasses on. You can see the bags under my eyes.
Yes.
I don't care.
That's age.
That's just getting old. Yep, you're there too. All right, everybody.
Wait till you have teenagers.
Hope you all had fun. I know I did.
Thanks for not listening.